Wait, that's
414, right. This is old. This is what we did with circles. Remember, we started out with x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 4 all squared equals 25. And we got the center and the radius. And that was easy when it was written like this.
Yeah.
But then we did equations like this. And before we could find the center and the radius of that, we had to rearrange and get it to be this form. So do you remember how we did that? We got the x stuff together. And then we put the y stuff together. Y squared minus 4y. And then we moved this to the other side.
Yeah.
And do you remember what we did next?
Complete the square.
Yes, we completed the square. So right here,
25. 5.
square it.
25.
So we added 25. Don't forget you have to add it to both sides. And then over here you can now factor this. X plus 5, x plus 5, which is x plus 5 all squared. So now it's starting to look like the form of a circle. You then have to do the same thing for the y stuff. Take half,
2.
square it.
4.
Don't forget to add it to both sides. Do you have a question?
No.
You keep making noises. So I have y minus 2 and y minus 2, which now I can write it as y minus 2 all squared. And if you add up all this stuff, I think you get 8. So the point was, you had to take this thing, which sort of looked like a mess, and rearrange it a little bit, and then complete the square so that you could eventually get it to look like the equation for a circle. Right? Right?
Right.
So today, oh, and by the way, circle has x stuff squared and the y stuff squared. A parabola only has one of them. Either the x stuff is squared or the y stuff is squared, but not both. So today we're going to do something similar with parabolas. Eventually we're going to find the vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry. But before we can do that, we've got to get this thing to look like a parabola. How do you know it's not a circle? Because it only has one thing squared. Only one. So first thing we're going to do, get the y stuff together. That's all we want on this side. We're going to add 12x, and we're going to minus 25. We're going to add 12x, and we're going to minus 25. And get that other stuff that does not contain y's, we're going to get it to the other side. And then can you guess what we're going to do here? Complete the square. I left a lot of room. Take half.
1.
Square it. Oh, that's an easy one. Plus 1. Don't forget to add it on the other side. I helped a bunch of people with it and they forgot to add it to the other side. So you're going to add it to both sides. When you do that now, since you completed the square, you should be able to factor this. Not only should you be able to factor it, it should be the same quantity, so that you can write it as y minus 1 all squared equals 12x minus, oopsie, thank you, Jacob. I got negative 25 plus 1. Before I go any farther, would you be able to tell me if this is an up and down or a sideways parabola?
Oh, it's up and down.
How can you tell?
It has a Y.
Right, it has the y stuff squared. Oh, it has, which one has the y stuff squared? Look down there. Which one has the y stuff squared? So what is it? Oh boy. So that's okay. So it's sideways, x minus y minus k all squared, and I forgot the a. Eventually, we're going to need to get this to look like that. Well, I got my y squared stuff on the wrong side. Would you care if I took this whole thing and flipped it
I
over?
wouldn't care.
So I'm just going to put the 12x minus 24 on one side, and I'm going to put the y minus 1 squared on the other. We're almost there. Except right here, that's got to be a 1.
Divide it all by 12.
Sort of. Eventually, we're going to divide it all by 12. What we're going to do first is factor out a 12. And it should go into this usually. So wouldn't that be x take away 2 then if I factor out 12 equals y minus 1 all squared. Now what am I going to do? Now I'll divide by 12. I guess you could have done that before, but divide by 12, divide by 12. This goes away, and look at that. I have x minus 2, just like I'm supposed to have. On the other side, I don't really have this over 12. I don't have anything in the denominator there. There's a little trick. I don't want it underneath there. I want some clean erasers. I'm going to move it over here to the front. And what's going to be in the numerator there? 1. So that value that I divided by is it becomes my a value of 1/12, and then I have the y minus 1 all squared. Because remember, there is a 1 under here, and 1 times 12 is 12. So now I have it just the way it's supposed to be. Look at that. Look at that.
But then you have the vertex focus there.
Oh, right. Minor little details. Now we need to find the vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry. Oh, boy.
You're right. Got him.
Vertex, well, for a sideways, it's an HK. Here, I'm going to make sections. What's the focus for a sideways? H plus C comma K. What is the directrix for a sideways? X equals what? Oh, thank you. And what is the axis of symmetry? Y equals K.
That's a lot.
Well, from the equation then, over there, from the equation, we're going to need to get the H, the K, the C. I've got most of it over here, don't I?
Facts.
Yeah.
H, K, A. What's H? 2. What's K?
1.
A. I also need C.
C is 3.
How did you get that?
12 divided by 4.
Well, do you remember that A is 1 over 4C, right? Remember? A is 1 over 4C. But I know that A is 1 over 12. So you can cross multiply then and get 4C equals 12. So what'd you get for C again?
3.
Whew. So now that I know all those, I think I can just plug them in here. The vertex, HK. What's the H? Is it 2? I don't know what it is. It's 2. What's K?
1.
Focus. H plus C. H is 2 plus, what's C? 3. And then what's K? 1. So the focus is 5, 1. Axis of symmetry is just y equals k. What's k? So y equals 1. And the directrix x equals h minus c. 2 minus 3. So x equals -1. Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of work.
That's one problem.
It's great.
Whew. Yeah, you're probably not going to have a test with 25 of these on it.
I hope not.
Right. It would take us 3 weeks. Or 3 days. So would you like to see another?
Not really. No.
You see, you have to complete the square. And then once you complete the square, you've got to factor out this number. And then divide by it so that becomes your A value, right? Oh, it is a lot. Do you have questions on anything? You probably won't have questions until you start working on it. So, nobody with questions right now? I'm on 416. It is today's date. It's my nephew's birthday today.
Happy birthday, your nephew.
Jakey. Happy birthday, Jake. 21 to 26. 21 to 26.